We're now joined by Dr. Mark Weber, Special Analyst for Education Policy at New Jersey Policy Perspective, and a teacher of what grades, Doctor?
I teach 4th and 5th grades. I teach music.
Before we get into the education or the teacher shortage in the state, why teaching?
Why teaching for me, or why teaching?
For you. No, for you.
For me, it was something I actually fell into as a second career, and I surprisingly turned out to be pretty good at it. And it's something that I actually love to do. I've been a researcher for a good long while, but I never really wanted to give up being in the classroom just because it's something I really enjoy. But it also gives me a perspective as a researcher that I think a lot of other people maybe don't have. There are a lot of times people will talk about policy initiatives, but if you haven't actually been in a school and worked in a school, it's hard to know how you can get those going, how you can get those off the ground. So I like having one foot in both worlds.
Got it. Let me ask you about this, Mark. The teacher shortage. We have a series, you'll see the graphic up, Who Will Teach Our Kids. It's a mini series we're committed to doing over as long as it's necessary, which my sense is it's going to be a while, to talk about who will, in fact, teach our kids. There's a shortage of teachers right now. The alternate route, or going a different route to become a teacher, what does it actually mean, A, and B, how much more should the state and nation be doing in that regard?
The alternate route is basically an alternative to becoming a teacher through getting a 4-year degree at a university and becoming certificated that way. So it's generally for people who've already earned their degree and are considering teaching. Like myself, as a second career, I actually began as an alternate route teacher and then went on and got a master's degree in teaching. So it's a very valid, very perfectly important way to enter into the teaching profession. The problem is that we've seen fewer people pursue both that route and the traditional route over the last, say, decade or so. We've seen a steep drop off in the number of people who are entering teaching preparation programs, and we've seen a steep drop off in people who are earning degrees in education that would eventually lead them to a teaching job. And this has got to be part of the problem that we are having with the teacher shortage that we're hearing about from our district leaders across the state.
Mark, I just finished an interview with Governor Murphy. It's a full half hour. If you haven't seen it on the broadcast side, check out our website, steveadubato.org. You can see it there as well. But I asked the governor about this, and he talked about a whole range of things the Murphy administration is doing in this regard to create more opportunities for teachers or people to come into the teaching profession. How would you not just rate, but describe the Murphy administration's efforts in this regard?
I think that Governor Murphy has done something important, and that is elevate the teaching profession itself. I don't think there's any a mystery about how Governor Christie before viewed the teaching profession and more specifically the unions that represent that profession.
To be fair, I've interviewed Governor Christie, former Governor Christie, many times. He would often say he separates his relationship with the teachers union, the NJEA, in fact, one of the underwriters of our programming, from teachers. That's how he would describe it. But go ahead, Mark.
I can understand that. I'm not quite sure that a lot of educators in the state would see it the same way. In terms of Governor Murphy, though, he did come in and he said he wanted to elevate the teaching profession. I think that that's important, and I'm glad he's done that. However, I'd have to say there are some things that I do not understand that the governor has not pursued in terms of policy to make it easier for teachers to enter the.
Be more specific, Mark. Be more specific.
Well, one specifically would be something called EdTPA, which is a test, basically a portfolio assessment that student teachers do that is sent off not to their professors, not to the people in their teaching preparation programs, but sent off basically to strangers to go take a look at. We've had some good evidence here in this state. Very pleased to have worked with Dr. Drew Gitomer at Rutgers University over the years. He has done research that points out there are some problems with this. The legislature passed a bill to eliminate the EdTPA requirement, and yet it is sitting on the governor's desk, from what I understand. So I haven't heard yet a rationale from the governor's office about why that may be. Having said all that, I do think that these probably are smaller issues than the big issue. And the big issue is teaching now a job that people want to do? We have a very strong labor market. There are a lot of opportunities for people with a college degree out there in all sorts of fields. What is it about teaching that attracts people, that wants to draw them in? And I'm afraid, from what I'm seeing, that there are fewer and fewer reasons why a young person would go into a great deal of debt, earn their college degree, and then turn around to become a teacher.
Well, I've got about a minute left, but you did it and make the case right now.
I did it back at a time where the pay gap between what I earned and what someone else who has an equivalent education earned was not as great as it is today. That pay gap has grown over the last 10 years.
We have to pay, sorry for interrupting, in a limited time we have, we have to pay, you're arguing, we have to pay our teachers significantly at a significantly higher rate.
I put it this way: let's pay them a competitive rate. Certainly there are, and I'm take myself as an example, there are people who go into teaching because they love it, but the economic cost cannot be so great that even if it was something that you wanted to do, you'd have to say, I can't do it. I have to pay off my college loans. I have to go basically make enough money to make a decent middle-class living.
Dr. Mark Weber, not just a teacher, I shouldn't say just, in addition to being a teacher, a special policy analyst over at New Jersey Policy Perspective regarding education policy. Mark, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Steve.
You got it. I'm Steve Adubato. That's Dr. Weber. We'll see you next time.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by Valley Bank, the New Jersey Education Association, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Community Food Bank of New Jersey, Hackensack Meridian Health, New Jersey Sharing Network, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, and by Johnson & Johnson. Promotional support provided by Insider NJ, and by NorthJersey.com and Local IQ, part of the USA Today network.
I'm Tim Sullivan, CEO of the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Since joining the NJEDA, I've been struck by the incredible assets and resources that New Jersey has to offer. The NJEDA is working every day to grow New Jersey's economy in a way that maximizes the values of those assets to benefit every single New Jersey resident. This includes more support for small businesses and a focus on reclaiming New Jersey's position as a leader in the innovation economy. Visit njeda.com to learn more about how NJEDA is building a stronger and fairer New Jersey economy.